Hi, I'm Lucas Whitmer. I'm a product development engineer here at the MK Morse Company, and today we're going to talk about how to properly choose a reciprocating saw blade. The first question that we like to ask is, what are you cutting? Based on what you're cutting, we can properly recommend you a blade based on a few certain criteria. The first step that we need to figure out is, how long does your blade need to be? A good rule of thumb is to choose a blade that's 2 inches longer than the workpiece that you're cutting, in the direction that you're cutting it. Something like this 2x2 construction tube can be cut with a 6-inch blade. Something like this. Something like this unistrut can be cut with a similar blade, but something like this steel stud needs to be cut with a longer blade if you're cutting in this direction. If you were cutting in the vertical direction here, you could use a shorter blade. The reason that's important, especially when cutting structural materials, is we don't want the nose of your blade to get hung up in the front of your cut and bend your blade into a question mark. It's very rough on the wrists when you do that. The second question that we're going to ask is, how thick does your blade need to be? Something like demolition style work, we typically recommend a slightly thicker blade. Something that is easy to cut, or something where you need to get in between two pieces, where you need a flexible blade, we recommend something thinner, like this HD thin metal blade. The third question that we like to ask is, how tall does your blade need to be? Something that's a very hardy material like this construction tube or demolition work with nail-embedded wood and screws, we typically recommend a 1-inch tall blade. Something with a little bit more beam strength, so when you really lean on your sawzall, it doesn't want to bend or waver. But something that's fairly easy to cut, like unistrut or a steel stud, a slightly shorter blade might be favorable. The last step of the process is figuring out what TPI blade you need. Thicker materials require a coarser TPI. Thinner materials require a finer TPI. If you're doing something like exhaust work, where you're cutting tubing that's roughly 1/8 of an inch thick, an 18 TPI blade is perfect for that material. If you're cutting something very thick like this quarter wall tube, we typically recommend a 10 TPI or even an 8 TPI carbide tip blade. Something like demolition work is optimized for maybe a 6 TPI, or if there's nails and screws in your workpiece, we would recommend something like an 811 TPI with a variable pitch to reduce vibration. All of those things we can figure out based on your workpiece. For more information, please visit mkmorse.com or call our customer service department.